Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on July 4th, 2018. If you'd like to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. I have 7 strategies with my game, Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to demonstrate on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 3, 9, 20, 42, and 61. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is, again, I took the 69 white ball numbers and I divided it among 5 colors, which equals 13.8. Okay, so my goal is to have either 13 or 14 numbers per color. Okay, so for this drawing here, I have 15 red numbers, 15 orange, 13 green, 11 blue, and 15 purple. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over here to the right, there's 241. This tells me how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings. Okay, so out of this 241 drawings, 125 drawings have been a 3-color combination. 85 drawings have been a 4-color combination. 23 drawings have been a 2-color combination. And only 9 times out of 241 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so over here, this 3 right here, right in the middle, this tells me how many colors came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there was 2 green numbers, 2 orange numbers, and a blue number for 3 colors total. Okay, so how I use this game is I try to correctly guess what the next number here will be. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. Only 5 numbers could come up as winners. So that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me out with that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess what color won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for me, and we're all going to look at this different, but for me, I'm going to guess that no purple numbers will be coming up. And the reason why is because a purple number has come up in the last 10 drawings, before this last drawing. Okay, so you can see that there's no purple numbers here. So I'm just going to guess that since it came up in the last 10 drawings, that I'm going to guess that it's going to miss a couple drawings. Okay, so again, I don't think any purple numbers are going to be coming up, so I want to get rid of them. So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no purple numbers to it. Okay, so when I block out a number like this, this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so What I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these purple numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these purple numbers come up, I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers, okay? And how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number, okay? And over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Again, it was the 3, 9, 20, 42, and 61. Okay, so that turns out to be a 4-group combination. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, and what you're going to see here is that I divided the 69 numbers into 7 different groups. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Group number 2 holds the numbers of 10 through 19. And then it's the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total. Okay, so the first group only has 9 numbers, and then the other 6 have 10 numbers each. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so that means 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, so I like to break things down into 5 for a couple reasons. One is when I go back into the history of things, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but the other reason why I do it is my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this group of numbers here for this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so for me, I'm going to guess that no 20 numbers are going to come up. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this differently. Okay, you may look at this and say, no, I don't think any 40 numbers are going to come up. Okay, but for me, again, I don't think any 20 numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to eliminate the 20 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. And I'll show you a couple other ways that I use this and how you can use it. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. But if you see something where there hasn't been a number in a little while, like this 30, you can see that there's only 2 numbers here. Okay. And 3 here, so maybe there'll be lots of 30 numbers coming up here soon. Okay, that's one way you can use it. Another way is that you could just point out one number, okay, and go down and see what colors have come up. So let's say the 46 is in the orange area and it hasn't been orange in a long time. Maybe you want to consider taking that because it hasn't been orange in a while. Okay, so another way I use this is I try to correctly guess how many groups is going to be hit. Okay, so what's my guess here? Okay, so most of the time it's either 3 or 4 groups that come up. Okay, every once in a while a 5 will come up, and every once in a blue moon a 2 will come up. Okay, so I've never seen a 1 before. I've never seen all 5 numbers be all like 60 numbers here. Okay, so here's a 2 for an example. You can see that there was 2 20 numbers and 3 60 numbers here. Okay, so again, for me, I think that it's going to be a 3, only because in the last couple of drawings here, you can see that there wasn't a 3 in this last 5. Okay, so I just think that it's due to come up. So I'm looking for a 3 right here. Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, so that's how you use that. So I'm going to go to the game card. I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far, with no purple numbers from the color code and now no 20 numbers from the individual numbers. Okay, so if I'm correct with my guesses here, okay, and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and divided it into 4 different groups, and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so this is for the red area, the blue, the orange, and the green. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards, and they all kind of look the same as far as the colors, red, blue, orange, green. Okay, so you can see that here's option card number 2, and you can see where the red numbers are, okay, as a group. And then option card number 3, you can see where the red numbers are. And option card number 4, okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they're all kind of mixed up, okay. So I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage. And again, the 5 white winning numbers that came up were the 3, 9, 20, 42, and 61. Okay, so the 3 and the 9 were in the red area, and the 20. 3, 9, and 20 are in the red area. So as I go down to the red, you can see that there's a 3 there, okay? And again, that stands for that 3, 9, and 20. Over in the blue section, there was no winning Powerball numbers, so I put a 0 there, okay? And in the orange, the winning Powerball number was the 42. And in the green was the 61. So you can see that there was a 1 in the orange and 1 in the green, okay? So the strategy is with this is you want to correctly guess where the zeros are going to pop up, okay? So if I could have correctly guessed that none of these blue numbers are going to come up, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how I use this is, again, I have 15 of these option cards, okay? And they all kind of look the same as far as the colors are concerned, but the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the Group 1 overview. Okay, so here in the red area for all 15 option cards, there was 4 misses, or 4 zeros within all 15 of them. Okay, and over here in the green, there was 5. Okay, so I color this this section blue if there's 5 or more misses to it. Okay, so it gives me some separation. Okay, so if I could correctly guess where one of these blue numbers are going to come up, these blue spots are going to come up, then I know that at least 5 out of the 15 option cards are going to have zeros to it. Okay, so to go over this real quick, I'm going to show you where the zeros were. Okay, so here in the green section, you can see 1, 0. Here in another green section, you can see 2. Here in another green section, there was 3. In another green section, here's 4. And here's the last one, number 5. Okay, so none of these green numbers came up in the last drawing here. Okay, so that's how I use this. Now, I think there's going to be lots of other green misses, okay, at least 5 of them for this drawing as well, okay? So I'm going to concentrate on the green areas as far as picking where the zeros are going to be, okay? So my first pick is going to be actually option card number 2, no orange numbers, okay? So I know that I said a lot about green, but this has hit 19 drawings in a row here, okay, that one of these orange numbers have come up in a drawing. Okay, so I just think that it's due to miss. So I'm going to eliminate all these orange numbers off of the game card. Okay, so in other words, I don't think any of these orange numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, but I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card. I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with none of those orange numbers here to it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1. And my next pick is still here at option card number 2. I don't think any green numbers are going to come up here. Okay, and the reason why I'm picking this one is the first reason is I think there's going to be lots of green misses, okay, among these 15 option cards. But the second reason is because these single blue zeros here, sometimes they double up or even triple up like over here. Okay, so this one hasn't doubled up in a little while. You can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 single blue marks here. Okay, so I just think that it's due to double up. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up, so I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so I don't think any numbers are going to be coming up on this right side here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1 for one last pick. Okay, so I'm going to pick that option card number 7. I don't think any green numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to go to option card number 7 here. And I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up here. Okay, so I think there's going to be another 0 right here. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this is, the first reason is because I think there's going to be lots of green. At least 5 out of the 15 option cards will have a 0 to it here in the green area. But the reason why I'm picking this one is because every once in a while this will triple up as far as the zeros are concerned. Okay, like right here you can see that there's 4 of them, but in this green area here there hasn't been a triple 0 in a very long time. Okay, so here it is. There's only 1 that's happened here. Okay, so as I look at the other ones for this option card, you can see that it tripled up at least a couple times. So over here, here's 3, and then here's 4. Okay, so as I keep on going up through, here's 3 down here, and then here's 4. So you can see that the other ones have had multiple times where it's tripled or even quadrupled up. But this green one hasn't. It only happened once. So I think it's going to happen again right here. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of them. And I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can read underneath group 1, option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so I got rid of all the green numbers here. Okay, so one thing is I want to go back here to these numbers off to the side here at the game card. You can see that the 58's off to the side. So what that means is that the 58 shares the square with the 68. Okay, so what that means is as I go back to group 1 here, you can see that there's no numbers off here to the side. Okay, so when it comes to this green area, okay, with the 58 and 68 here, again, the 58 shares the square with the 68. So what that means is that I'm going to get rid of all these green numbers as a group, okay? And that includes the 58 and the 68 as a group, okay? So again, if I don't think that any of these green numbers are going to come up, then I don't believe the 58 or the 68 are going to come up. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. So what I'm doing is I'm dividing numbers into groups of numbers, okay? and then I'm trying to correctly guess whether they're going to come up in the lottery or not come up. Okay, so again, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up. Okay, because 64 of them out of 69 won't be able to come up. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, the reason why I have the 58 off here to the side and not crammed in with the 68 is because of the color code. Okay, so for this drawing, you can see that the 58's orange, but the 68 is green. Okay, so if I decided to get rid of the green numbers, I would get rid of the 68, but the 58 would still be in play. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So as I keep on going here, that's the end of group 1. So I'm going to go to my next strategy, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1 where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 3 of these groups will not be able to have a Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these colored groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so maybe you heard the saying divide and conquer. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm doing here with the Powerball. I'm dividing things into different groups and different looks. Okay, so this is just another different look at groups of numbers here. Okay, so how this works is I'm going to concentrate on this red area here. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all have the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so you can see where the red numbers are here for option card number 1. And as I go to option card number 2, you can see where the red numbers are. And then number 3, you can see where the red numbers are in 4. Okay, so they're all mixed up. They're all a little bit different. Okay, so again, I just keep track of these groups of numbers and try to correctly guess whether they're going to come up or not. Okay, so how I use this is down here in the stats. I like to keep track of every 5 drawings. Okay, and the reason why I do that is because it shows me a majority. Okay, so for this 5 here, you can see that there was 3 zeros, 3 misses, and 2 hits. Okay, so the majority is misses. So when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so this next one right down here, okay, right below it, you can see that there was 3 hits out of 5 drawings. So the majority is hits. So when that happens, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so because the lottery is so random, I know that nothing can stay hot forever or nothing can stay cold forever. Okay, so when I see something that's been wicked hot, like right here, well, I know it's going to turn cold eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so as I go down through, my first guess here is going to be option card number 3, no red numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 3 right here. Okay, so here's the stats for the red. And as I head down through, you can see that things were kind of like 50-50. And then they kind of got hot and then really, really hot here. Okay, so now I think it's going to start to cool off. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, and if there is a 0, then that means none of these red numbers will be coming up, I hope, okay, because I'm going to get rid of them. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, you can see that right here, the red numbers, the 4 and the 12, are the only ones that are left. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so you can read underneath group 2, option card number 3, no red numbers, and you can see that 4 and the 12 are gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is going to be option card number 4, no yellow numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 4. Here's the yellow area, and as I head down through, you can see that things were pretty hot. They kind of stayed hot. Okay, and now I think they're going to cool off. Okay, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. And if that happens, that means none of these yellow numbers will be coming up, I hope. Okay, so I think the only one left is like the 65. Okay, so this shares the square with the 25, and you can see that the 25 is already gone, and I eliminated that when I eliminated all the 20 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. And again, you can read underneath group 2, option card number 4, no yellow numbers, and you can see that 65 is gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the green. And as I head down through, you can see that things were pretty hot. They kind of stayed hot, and now I think it's going to start to cool off, and I think you're going to see a bunch of zeros here. Okay, a bunch of blue areas coming up, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these green numbers. I don't think any of these green numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left, and you can read underneath option card number 7, no green numbers, and that 49 and 51 are gone now. Okay, so my next pick is going to be option card number 15, no red numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go right down to the end here. Okay, this is the last option card, number 15, and I don't believe that any red numbers are going to come up. So as I head down through, you can see that things were kind of like 50-50. And then it has a wicked long streak right here. So I think it's going to start to cool off. So I think there's going to be a 0 here. Okay, so I don't believe that any of these red numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to get rid of these red numbers right here. Okay, so I don't think they're going to come up. So I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so there was one where I didn't think that 57 was going to come up, so I got rid of that one too. Okay, so this is all that I'm going to eliminate. Okay, so again, I started off with 69 white ball numbers. Okay, and now I'm down to 1, 2, 4, 6, and 1 and 7. Okay, so I'm down to 7 numbers now. Okay, so again, if these blocked out numbers, if my guesses are correct and these blocked out numbers don't come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so the key word here is if. Again, if I'm correct with my picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then again, the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. Okay, so a couple years ago, when I was doing this, I reduced the numbers down to 10, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within the 10 numbers still left on the game card. Okay, I only picked 2 numbers correct that day. So I looked at things and I said, how can I improve this? Okay, so I came up with the 50-50 picks. Okay, and what this is that, again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so because of how the numbers are for this drawing, the only one that I can really pick is whether it's going to be odds or evens. So looking at the 50-50 picks, because odds have come up in the last 3 drawings, the majority for the last 3 drawings, I think the majority for this drawing will be evens. So when I pick my numbers, I want it to represent at least 3 even numbers. Okay, actually I decided to go with more odds. Sorry about that. I think there's going to be more odds. I think it's going to stay on that odd streak. Okay, for one last time. Okay, so as I go through, if you get my game, you could look at this and you could decide for yourself what you think the majority will be for the high and low side, okay? The left and right side, and this red and blue area, okay? So I do have one thing for the Powerball numbers here, okay? This is for the red ball number. So again, there's 69 white ball numbers, and out of that 69, you got to pick 5 numbers correct. And there's 26 red ball numbers, and out of that 26, you got to pick 1 number correct. So if you get all 6 numbers correct, you win the jackpot. Okay, so how I use this is that if you're looking at this column right here, a blue number means that it's low, 1 to 13. Okay, so again, there's 26 numbers total, so I just divided it into 2. Okay, so if you see a blue number, then that means it's 1 to 13. And if you see a red number, then that means it's high, 14 to 26. So over here in this column, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. If you see a blue number, then that means it's evens. Okay, so you can go down through. Okay, so this big blue, green spot right here, this means that the Powerball repeated itself. So you can see that the 14 repeated itself here. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think that this is going to be blue, and I think that this is going to be blue. So I think the Powerball number will be a low, even number. Okay, so I'm going to go off to the next strategy, okay? And that is strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so here in group 2, you can see that, again, I have 15 option cards here, and they all have the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is that there's 15 red areas, 15 blue areas, 15 orange, okay? And I like to keep track of that, and I call that the Group 2 overview. Okay, so much like the Group 1 overview, okay, I keep track of that. So this is the Group 2 overview right here. So you can see for the red areas, okay, for all 15 of them, the last drawing, there was 9 hits, 6 misses out of those 15 option cards, okay? So the key number here is 8. If there's 8 or more, then that means the majority will be either hits or misses, okay? So there was 8 or more hits, so the majority is hits. So I colored the background red for hot when that happens, okay? So over here you can see that the majority was 9 misses, okay? So when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so this helps me just look at the colors here, okay? So now I just try to correctly guess what the color is going to be. And I think that in this orange area, I think that there's going to be lots of hits, okay, at least more than 8. And over here in the gray area, I think that there's going to be lots of hits as well, at least more than 8 out of those 15 option cards. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll to the right. Actually, I'm going to scroll down. And here for the 50-50 picks, I said evens, but I changed my mind. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be odds. Okay, so as I head on over, again, I think there's going to be lots of hits among the orange and gray areas of Group 2. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by this. Okay, so this represents option card number 1 in the orange area. So here's number 1, and the orange area runs from the 3 down to the 59, and the gray runs from the 7 down to the 63. So as I look at this, I look at the 3 down to the 59, and the only one left is the 43. So I wrote that down. And over here in the gray, you can see that there's nothing here, so I wrote a 0 here. Okay, so this is what I did for all 15 option cards, and these are the numbers how it broke out. Okay, so it's off to the next strategy. Strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 1, 41, 42, 43, and 50. Okay, so with this combination of numbers, this will give me 9 hits among those 15 option cards in the orange area, and it will give me 9 hits among the gray option cards within the 15 option cards. Okay, so that's how that works out. All right, so by doing this, you can see that when I go back to the individual numbers, I thought that this will be a 3, so it hits 3 groups. So you can see the 1 is in the 1 to 9 group, and then there's 3 40 numbers, which is all in the 40 group, and then 1 in the 50. So that would give me 3 groups that it will hit. Okay, so that's what I think will happen. So again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 1, 41, 42, 43, and 50. Okay, so if you're interested in getting my game, please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, I charge $10 a month, and that's to be considered a maintenance fee to keep the system updated. Okay, so all payments will be made through PayPal. All right, so I appreciate you watching. Okay, if you like the content of this channel, then please subscribe. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.